Welcome to Let Us Farm. My name is Amalifon Oge of Let Us Farm. So today we're going to be talking about raising layers or pullet as the case may be. So I want to talk about poultry farming today as some people have requested me to do that. So in poultry, we have different beds that are all poultry beds. So we have the layers, we have the broilers, we have the noilers, we have the turkey. All these things are poultry beds. But specifically, we'll be talking about layers for those who have interest in raising layers. Now, we have different types of layers. So let us draw this back to Nigeria so that every one of us who is in Nigeria and wants to start poultry farming will understand what I'm talking about. Now, female birds lay eggs, but if you want to start a successful layers farm in Nigeria, there are things to consider. First of all, some of us, because of price, people tend to go to noiler, but the truth is that noilers are not very good layers. So the best possible layers we have in Nigeria, I'm going to list them and I will describe what these layers, what is their characteristics and things like that. Now, first and foremost, we have two major types of layers in Nigeria. Either it is black or it is brown. If you buy noila as a laying bed and you want to do commercial egg production, it's not that I want to discourage you, but the truth is that they are not very good layers, so it may not be successful. Noilers are a combination of layers and broilers. That is what produces noiler. But the laying ability of this bird cannot be compared to a bird that is purely for egg production. I don't know if you get this logic. So for this fact, you can't compare the two. So the production level of noilers is not as good as pure laying birds. Having explained this, like I said, we have two major types of layers for anybody that wants to go into commercial egg production. We have two major types. We have the black and we have the brown. Now, the black layers in the olden times, even up until around 2010, used to be the most commercially viable birds in Nigeria. The reason is that black layers, they used to start with very big egg. So if I take my brown and you take your black, if the black starts laying, they start laying very big eggs. But if the brown start laying, they start laying small eggs. Then gradually, as they're getting older, their eggs get bigger. But black will start very big eggs. Now, if you want to sell your birds as a 10, when your black birds are getting older, they have more weight, they become weighty. So when it gets to the market, they dominate the market because people will carry it and it has weight. But over the time, things started changing. The people were no longer much interested in black birds. There are many reasons to that. You discover that brown layers, when you want to sell Christmas birds, when you put your brown layers in the cage, initially people were doing it as like marketing. So they will tell you that the black birds are more of local, while the brown birds were more of foreign. This was, marketing strategy that people started using at first. But later on, it gained momentum. People will look from afar. When they see black layers, they believe that they are local birds. And when they see brown layers, it attracts them. So people started shifting their attention. So what it simply means is that when you raise your laying birds and you want to sell them as old layers, if you carry 1,000 brown old layers to market and someone carries 1,000 black layers to market, you with brown will finish before the black. So people started switching. So farmers started changing. Then another thing that made people to switch from black to brown is that if you understand global warming means that heat is constantly coming. Now there's one little idea you will know is that When you wear black cloth under sun, you sweat heavily more than when somebody wears a lighter cloth. The same thing is applicable in poultry. So some farms were losing their black birds due to heat stroke because the magnitude of heat was very high, and most of the farms in Nigeria don't have the central fan system, cooling fan system that normally cools down the bed's temperature. So most farms don't have it because it's an expensive something to put. So what it simply means is that most people that had black birds used to see their black birds die during dry season much. So for that reason, people don't want to gamble. Now people are beginning to buy brown, and we're having crisis because of global warming. So people now shifted to um brown birds. So I want to give you a preview of this so that you understand, why people switch. So now in brown birds, this is where we are going. So if you want to buy brown birds in Nigeria today, we have different types of brown birds, but we have two that is very common. One is Isa brown, and the other one is Highland brown. Now, Isa brown is very common. Most farms have Isa brown, but it's not all farms that have Highland. Now, this Highland brown layers is owned by Agrited. Apart from Agrited, I don't know any other farm that actually have Highline, but most farms have Isa brown. Now, Agrited says that their Highline has more egg production, gives you more bigger eggs, livability. But the question is that Isa brown has been tested by a very lot of farmers, and Isa brown is very rugged. Isa brown lays egg. If you manage Isa brown, it can lay egg for about a year, 4 months. Some will even get to a year, 6 months before they start missing their laying. So Isa brown is very good, and most farms in Nigeria, most hatcheries in Nigeria actually hatch Isa brown. I don't want to market any hatchery in Nigeria, because if I call names now, people will troop to that place thinking that they are the only ones that have Isa brown. So if you want to start layers business in Nigeria, what we call laying bird when they are small is pullet. If you want to start that business in Nigeria, I will advise you to start with Isa brown. One, Isa brown is rugged. In terms of disease control, Isa brown will give you very good cooperation. They don't easily fall, except you mismanage everything. That's when they have disease outbreak. Two, Isa brown FCR is very good. Their feed conversion rate is very, very good. Just like the normal standard feed conversion rate to all birds. Number three, Isa brown will lay egg to like a year, 4 months to a year, 6 months before it starts missing the egg laying situation, except some cases where they are sick or anything like that. Now, Isa brown during your sales commands good price because of the look. So you'll be seeing pictures because of the look. So people buy Isa brown. When during sales, people don't know if it's Isa brown or not. That's during like Christmas sales, or they don't know. But when you look at Isa brown, it's very okay. So you may have other ones that are not very common, but the one I just told you now is they are very popular and they command very good market response. Now, if you want to raise this bird, the last video I did on how to start a poultry farm, you will also start in the same process. But then there are two main methods of separating the birds. Either you use the battery cage system or use the deep litter system. The deep litter system is a situation that you leave your birds on the floor, then you can use tires for where they are laying nest. But the battery cage system is a situation that you put them inside their battery cages. So when they lay egg, the eggs roll out of the battery cage and you pick it up from there. So these are the two methods that you have to plan. So apart from the building of your brooding house, that's where you raise the birds. Now, standard, most people cage their birds. Most big companies, big poultry houses At the age of 10 weeks from day old, you cage your birds. The idea is for your birds to start getting used to cage so that they will start settling down. It's not good to cage your birds at 18 weeks. The reason is that at 18 weeks you're expecting your birds to start laying. But if you cage them that time, they will be trying to understand their new housing, and if they are doing it, it will delay their egg laying. Now, I want to correct one or two things that people don't know about laying bird. I have read where some people say that some birds lay 2 eggs per day. Well, I am going to tell you this: birds cannot lay 2 eggs per day. In fact, it is said that they need 26 hours to lay egg. But you see their egg every day, once a day, and a day has 24 hours. That's why your bird may lay by 8 o'clock today, tomorrow they will lay by 10 o'clock, depending on how the digestion work. This is something that we see in the farm. So when people start making an assumption that there's some people who say that one bird will lay 2 eggs a day. No, it's 1 egg per day. That's the thing you will see. 1 egg per day. Birds do not lay 2 eggs per day. There are situations that you can see 1 egg that has 2 yolks inside. Those ones may be malformation or anything, but not that birds lay such a thing. Now, some people want to boost their egg. Like I said from when I started this video, I said the brown lays big egg from the start. If you have black, so if you're having a brown egg, their egg size will get bigger as the birds get older in laying. So if they start laying today, you don't expect their eggs to be big. In fact, anything they lay this week, if they are young, will not be big. Now, some people again have this problem of you want to raise birds, you are planning that you want your birds to start laying at 14 weeks. Sorry, it's not possible. There are situations people's birds start laying at 16 weeks, but the truth is that even if they lay at 16 weeks, they can't be able to feed themselves at 16 weeks. It may still get to 26, 27 weeks of laying before they will be able to 26 to 27 weeks of age before you can break even. Some break even at 23 weeks. I have seen that. But why I'm saying this is, don't put unnecessary and some funny calculation that are not real, thinking that you are manipulating. It doesn't work that way, So if you are interested in raising Isa Brown, my advice to you is raise them very well, feed them very well. They need food. Now, when they start laying, your 200 birds is supposed to finish 1 bag of 25 kg of food. If you decide to manage food, well, the result will tell you your egg. But this is what it is. Then when you cage those birds, if you cage those birds, they are 220, they will also finish that bag and give you the same result as the ones that are 200 to eat 1 bag. Now, the reason is that when birds are on the floor, they burn energy because they are always moving, flying up and down. But when they are inside cage, they conserve energy. That is the reason why battery cage is more effective both in management and in production than staying on the floor. But if you start and you don't have money, please do not go and break the bank because you want to buy battery cage. You can start on the floor, grow the business before you now transfer, because our forefathers, most of them never used battery cage and they were successful farmers. So if you start on the floor, when you grow the business before you start going to battery cage, yes, battery cage is good. But then again, if you don't have money for battery cage, start on the floor, start picking their eggs. When you pick in, just make provision and plan to go ahead. So I don't know, maybe if there's anything that you have wished that I have said more on this video. If there is, please use the comment section. And if there is anything you want me to discuss on this laying bed, ask me on the comment section and I will do well to bring you that particular story. And until I come your way next time, my name is Emily Fonunol Oge of Leros Farm. Keep farming. It's a way of life.